Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, distinguished individuals, and thank you for joining us once again with Spyro, A Hero's Tale. We return after a bit of a sweep, going back and picking up some stuff we had to miss last time around. Woo! Hiccup right in the middle of that. Well, there goes all my gravitas for the day. Yeah, we just did a bit of a backtrack. Got some stuff, just in case you're using this as a walkthrough, which, hey, I have absolutely zero objection to. And now we are heading back to, Frostbite Village to continue working on whatever it is we were doing here. Evidently, that includes getting hit in the face with an axe. And narrowly dodging a gigantic snowball. Whew! Those things always put me on edge. I mean, yeah, you'd think snow wouldn't be too much of a problem, but, I mean, that thing's a lot of snow. And water in any form is very heavy. So,
That's why it's pretty easy for people to get killed when a plane crashes on the water.
Yep. And with that joyous little tidbit there.
I've been watching Mayday. Otherwise known as Air Crash Investigations.
Interesting.
It's kind of like Seconds from Disaster. Have you seen that?
I think so, yeah. I might have seen one or two bits of it when I still had a TV. Well, I still had network TV. I still have a TV, I just don't use it for watching television. So, where are we headed to now?
I don't know where Blink is.
Okay. God, those are bizarre hitboxes. I mean, I'm aware I'm complaining about stuff I've already talked about, but really, you'd think they would have put, like, some last touches on that.
I'm not gonna waste my time here.
Going straight back to the map here. I mean, at this point, there isn't really much point in wandering around like this.
If we had just arrived here, then yeah, but... Blink is Blink. Right here.
Okay. Well,
And we're right there.
So we're right in the vicinity. We have been. Though we just didn't really notice. Guess shockwaves don't work on him. Alright. Yes, that is it. Alrighty.
Well, hi to you too. How are you?
Well, I don't know about Blink, but I'm doing okay.
Meet again, Spyro. I'm looking forward to exploring in this area. I'm always up for a challenge. Underground, tight spaces, and freezing cold. I love it. Should I explore below ground?
First time I've ever seen him actually wear the goggles, like, over his eyes. Five dark shards.
Snowed under.
Okay then. Gems trapped in ice there. I forgot we can damage ourselves with that. I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of feels like Blink's ability set is a little over-designed, honestly.
Oh, triangle. Okay.
Yeah. Had to reorient yourself to the controls there. That didn't work so well.
I have no idea how that works, but okay.
I was just gonna make a fart joke, but moments passed. So do his goggles actually, like, do anything, or is it just a neat effect when you zoom in? I mean, you can aim, but so can every other character.
Not that I know of. Ah, hey!
There's a skeleton there. And there. Well, I mean, not anymore, obviously, but...
Sissy.
Well, I don't know about you, but a laser blast probably would hurt me pretty bad. I mean, skeletons, they don't even have any, like, flesh. It's just bone. Damage straight to the structural system. It's, not exactly, helpful. I don't know. See, I think part of the reason that the companion characters in the previous Spyro games, you know, Ricto's Rage, or not Ricto's Rage, what am I talking about? Oh, they do have identities, that's right. How could I forget that? Anyway, but like in Year of the Dragon, that's what I'm thinking. Like, the reason they worked is because their abilities were very different from Spyro's, so playing them felt very different.
These guys have different abilities.
Yeah, but they all have the exact same, like, melee attacks. Everybody has an explosive thing of some kind.
I think that was your complaint with Teen Titans.
Oh, God. Okay, see, Teen Titans was even worse in that respect. There was effectively no difference between player characters. It was all the same.
What are the dimensional effects?
Well, yeah, but that's not much fun when it's, you know, when you've got the Teen Titans, a team of heroes who all have very different backgrounds. Like, that's part of the point, is despite their differences, they all work together as a team, and they use their capabilities. They play off of one another's capabilities. Oh. So I'm guessing Blink can't swim. They play off of one another is the thing. Like, they all... Robin's not a huge, tough bruiser like Beast Boy or Cyborg is, so his strength lies in his agility and his tactics. He's the leader of the team. They had so much potential there and really wasted it. Jeez. Making me nervous here. like I'm saying, like there isn't really like a very tangible gameplay difference. You know? I mean, about the only difference is Spyro can just smash open the rock walls with his charge. Hunter needs an explosive arrow to do that, and Blink just has these bombs he lobs. Whereas, like, I mean, the only real major difference is playing Sergeant Bird. But that's because his levels are a combination of the speedways from the first 3 games and his actual levels in Spyro 3. I guess what I'm saying is, like, Spyro 3, you had Spyro, then you had the sections where you would play as Sheila, who felt very different from Spyro. Her gameplay was a lot more vertical because of her jumping abilities. And that allowed a lot of changes to the level design because of it. Bentley had very different capabilities from Sheila, and Sergeant Bird also had a lot of very different capabilities. Ooh, those creepy, bloody things again. Ooh. And Agent 9 also felt very, very different. You know, it let the designers do very different things with the level designs. Because Bentley was built around his club and his smashy stuff, his levels feel very different from playing as Sheila, who I've already covered. You know, she's all about the verticality in the level design. Lots of jumping and that kind of thing. And Sergeant Bird flies, so his levels are definitely going to be very different from Agent 9, who is, basically a third-person shooter. And they all feel very different from Spyro, who has much more in the way of, like, his glide, for example, or just makes his level design already miles different from anybody else.
This part always gets me, but not this time.
Uh-huh. Well, moving past it. Huzzah!
I guess I figured out a trick or something.
I guess.
So remember how I told you I kept dying in my walkthrough, and I had to, like, cut out a bunch of stuff?
Yeah?
Well, what happened was this.
Oh, right, yeah. We were talking about this, I think, last time
Yeah.
we had a Blink level. We were talking about the little inertia he has.
I couldn't really show it off last time, though.
Ow. Well, show it off safely.
But yeah, that's what happens. I stop and he keeps going.
But yeah. I guess if I'd been like... If I had my way, Blink would be... I think Blink's levels would be based around the bombs. And having him do different things with them. I mean, blowing open walls and such is only one aspect of how the bombs work. You know, do some timed switch puzzles. Relying on you having to, set the bombs, run. Like, okay, take this puzzle, for example. There's a switch, that opens a door. But the switch is across the room from the door, and the door doesn't stay open very long. So, what you have to do is toss a bomb, run for the door, and then when the bomb goes off later, as you're running towards the door, you have enough time to get through the door before it closes again. As simple as that.
I like the music.
Well, yeah, the music's fine, but I don't know. I like to. I don't know. I just feel like they weren't really trying. They did. They looked at things being different. They looked at the different characters in earlier entries of the series and didn't see why.
You can torture them. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw. Like, it's one thing to do something in a game, but you have to understand why it's done to really get it. Otherwise, it's like... Well, otherwise it's like trying to draw without understanding the process of making a picture. There's stuff like, you know, the underlying anatomy of the person you're drawing.
You mean the private parts?
No, I mean, good God, dude, come on. I'm talking like how bones and muscles work, how body structure works. Otherwise, you don't get the proportions right. No, you don't have to, like, obviously you have to understand how that stuff works if you're drawing them nude, but you, at the core of it, you still have to understand, like, this is how the human body is structured. This is how the bones look. This is the shape of the body and how that changes based on certain factors. You know, otherwise, no, you're not gonna get the anatomy right of the picture, and the pose is gonna look weird. And you also have to understand how, like, the clothing hangs off of a person's body. Otherwise, the clothing is gonna look weird. Well, that was dramatic. Excuse me. You know, if you don't understand why you want to do something in a game, then you're just not going to execute it right. I'm trying to think of a game that does this as a good example, but not really. Nothing's really coming to mind. And there we go.
Here you go, Spyro. I found you a dragon egg. Try again and see if I can find you a light gem.
Okay. How about this? Let's say somebody makes a new game. Just and they grew up playing the Spyro the Dragon games. So they're thinking, okay, let's just give this character a glide ability. Sure, that sounds great. I mean, the gliding thing sounds great, but not the getting squashed by a snow boulder. That's just painful. Anyway, so they decide to put a gliding mechanic in the game. Sounds great, right? But then nothing in the game actually requires you to glide. There's no mechanics that encourage you to use that ability. It's just there. It doesn't do anything. There's not even any long jumps. You can clear all the jumps with your basic jump. But the glide is just there. Does that sound like it would really be all that great? Like, what's the point of having the glide in the game if you're not gonna use it, right?
I mean, it's gonna be just for fun.
Well, yes, but the idea is you want to encourage the player to use it. It's just there. If you give them a thing and you don't, like, say they don't even tell you it exists, what's the point in having it there?
Decoration?
Well, right, but it's boring. It's poor game design to include something that's never used. I'm trying to think of something else. Or, like, okay, say they arbitrarily decided to put RPG mechanics in this. Suddenly, rather than just having all of your abilities to start with, you have to buy them with gems as you go through the game. Like, you don't even get Blink's bombs when you start the game. You have to buy the bombs, and then you have to buy, and then even then you can only carry 3 to start. You have to spend more gems on being able to carry a 4th, and then a 5th. Up to an arbitrary maximum that you've eventually dumped like a couple thousand gems into, just so that you can solve all the puzzles in an area. And the game makes you go through this forced section at the very start of the game where Spyro doesn't have any abilities at all.